Hi everyone, it's Carolyn here to share another message. And this time again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some information for you. It's not a channeled message, but there's some things that have been coming into my awareness lately. One of which is, I've not done a video like this on my channel yet, but is kind of like a starter kit for spiritual awakening. So I got thinking about what would I want to have known when I started the awakening, but knew nothing, knew literally nothing. So I have, well, right now I have at least 14 points, but I'm going to go through a portion of them today. We'll see how far we get. And then I'm going to do another video on the rest of them. And so these are all things that I got thinking about would be a wonderful thing to know as you're starting the awakening, and just as a refresher as we're going through the awakening, because a lot of this stuff doesn't end. I mean, as we know, we keep journeying through this, and it's almost like a phased approach, but then lots of times those phases will repeat themselves. So for those of you who have been journeying for some time, don't ignore this video, because there's probably stuff in here that you've not heard of before, or it'll be a great reminder. And for those of you who are new to your awakening, I hope this helps you realize that the things that you're going through, or that you will be going through, are a familiar part of the awakening journey. So welcome to everybody who's new. I appreciate you joining me, liking, sharing, and subscribing to my videos so I can keep doing more of these. And I have a free video below on how to create flow in your body for health and wellness. It's 6 tips from my distance energy healing on how to create flow in your body and keep your body healthy during this awakening journey. And then it leads you to a lot more free content that I offer through my email list. So check that out if you want. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get going. I'm not going to go into great depth on all of these because this would be a really long video, but I am going to give you enough to go on. And I do have on my current videos throughout my YouTube channel, I have a lot of longer videos on certain pieces of these, not necessarily all of them, but you can check out the rest of my videos too. All right, first of all, what you should know is there truly are stages of awakening. You're going to go through typically certain stages. And in the early stages of your awakening journey, you're going to probably want to learn everything under the sun about this, or about peeling back the layers of kind of what we've been taught in humankind all along. You're going to start doubting things. You're going to start wondering about things. You're going to incessantly want to learn about that. All right. Now that happened to me long before I even knew I was awakening. I spent about 4 or 5 years going through this phase of incessant peeling back the layers of what I believed and had been taught all my life, be it religion. I started exploring lots of different religions. And I just thought I was interested in learning, right? I didn't know I was going through awakening. In addition to that, politics. I got really involved and then I wasn't, okay? And I started really kind of learning more about all of that and then making some choices about that. All of those kinds of things. You're going to go through this learning phase. Now, if you're aware you're awakening and you've had that kind of lightning bolt happen to you, you're going to start exploring all of the or learning all about the awakening, and you'll be incessant, and you'll probably buy a ton of books, or you'll be out online listening to everything you can under the sun. And so that's one of the phases, as well as one of the earlier phases is exploring, starting to look at the things you've learned and realize, where do my interests lie? That's kind of a part of the phase of learning, but at the same time, it kind of starts narrowing your focus. And I won't go into all the stages, but what I want you to know out of the first one, the first starter kit tip, is there are stages you're going to go through, all right? And I do actually have a video on that as well. All right, number 2, you're going to have ups and downs, probably more than you've ever had before. And the reason for that is what the awakening does is it opens you up. Again, it's peeling back the layers of the human, of all the stuff that we have stuffed down over the years, or that we've allowed to, I guess I would just say, embed in us in a belief in one way or another, that we then kind of shatter. Views of ourselves, emotions we've stuffed down, situations we've had with others, and I'm going to go into the whole past lives thing too, and so it gets really complex. All that we've brought in from past lives, all that we've had from this life, if we haven't dealt with our emotions or our stuff, I'll just say, this is the time it comes to the surface. So to one degree or another, depending on the work that you've done previously to be able to really connect with yourself and understand that, and most of us don't have a clue about our past lives, but just for this purpose, think of this current life, all the things maybe we haven't taken care of, forgiveness issues, emotional, feeling the emotion of something that we just stuffed down instead. So know that you're going to have ups and downs, and those emotions are going to get more raw. So you're just going to become a little rawer version of yourself. But once you know that, you're going to feel the emotion. You're going to think, where's that coming from? And so the whole idea there is to really start peeling that back and understanding why we're feeling what we're feeling. And oftentimes those scenarios are going to come up in full form again. You're going to remember things. And what I say to you is lean into it and let it happen. Don't stuff it back down, because it's going to just pop up even more. All right? So you're going to have ups and downs. The other part of this is these emotions, allowing you to open up these emotions, spill out these emotions, opens up room inside of you for our energies to come in, to fill up from our stars, our sun, our moon, all the solar flares we have, the energetic events across time. So again, it's clearing out to let it in, to let that light in. All right? Number 3, I tell everybody, get a pendulum. And the reason I tell you to get a pendulum is in the early times, it can kind of become your best friend. And here's why. A lot of us want our intuitive gifts to open up, but we don't believe ourselves when we actually probably are answering our own questions on things we don't really know, all right? Because we've not been taught to listen to our intuition, to understand that we have a lot of answers. The pendulum can actually offer you the opportunity to practice your intuition by moving into a situation where you ask yourself something that you don't know or that you're pondering, and then what's your initial fast answer that you get in your mind's eye? And then from there, you can check with the pendulum. But the point is it can help you with not only starting to use your intuition, and again, I'm going to reference to the pendulum video. And now that I think about that, pendulum video was on my email list, so that's not available on YouTube. But again, join my email list and you'll get a lot more content. But the point is a pendulum can be very helpful in the early stages of being able to trust your intuition, or to learn if you're not listening to your intuition and you were analyzing and overthinking things, because usually your intuition is your first response, your first feeling, your first knowing, all right? And then you can cross-check that with your pendulum. Get a pendulum. Additionally, a pendulum can be used to clear your energies. This is an energetic event we're in, all right? Ascension is an energetic event. It's a transformative event. And because of that, we are taking in new energies. We're experiencing new energies through, as I've mentioned, the sun, the moon, various events throughout the year. Pendulums can clear your energies, not just from that, but from being around others. A lot of us are empathic. We have big open hearts, and we suck in other people's energies, and we can take it in, and those feelings aren't our own. So get a pendulum to remove your energies. And I won't go into the detail of that right now, but that's how you would use a pendulum to your advantage in your early stages of the awakening. Now, the reason I say early stages is you don't want to get, hooked on it so that that's where you're getting all your answers. You want to just be able to know that you can trust yourself. You can trust yourself and get the answers you need and the information you need, and that what you're hearing inside yourself, which we can all do, is real. All right? Number 4, you're going to have bodily symptoms, weird things you've never had. Maybe you're a fully healthy person, have never had anything before, and all of a sudden you start getting weird skin eruptions, cold sores, canker sores, rashes, aches and pains, joint issues. Sometimes headaches. That's another one. I don't get a lot of those, but I get the other things. But definitely people get headaches. Bodily symptoms, because what's happening is our body is shifting and adjusting with the energies that are coming in. We are actually cellularly changing. And this has been confirmed to me with the channels that I do. They've even had channels that I've done through the Light Keepers that talk about cellular adjustments. And so our bodies are shifting and changing, and just know that. And that also means that the things we want to eat are going to shift and change. We might have some weight gain. That's part of bodily symptoms. A lot of people have weight gain. You're just going to potentially feel out of sorts. So that's a common symptom. But so that's number 4 of our spiritual awakening starter kit. Number 5, find your tribe. Now, I want to say first, though, you will go through very likely a phase of, I just want to be alone. I don't want anybody to be around me. And that's really to one degree or another with each person. And it depends, depends on how long that lasts for you too. But ultimately, you're going to get the itch to find like-minded people that understand the awakening. And so what I would tell you to do, and I wasn't a big social media person before all this, but now I am, because I also have YouTube and I have a business out here. Anyway, point is get out to Facebook or get out to Instagram or get out to YouTube. Facebook has some great groups that you could join. Let me give you a couple here. Awakening Community. Victor Otto's got a great group. There's a ton of people on it, though, so you're going to get everything under the sun, but you'll get a lot of help, too, and you might find some people that you really resonate with. There's some smaller channels as well, which, or Facebook groups that may be useful to you, too. There's another one, Spiritual Awakening Group, I think is it. It's a pretty large group, too. But again, you might want to start there, and you'll get a flavor of it. You'll get all kinds of comments and input, but you'll also learn from it, too. But again, that's a good way to really start getting yourself out there. And then pretty soon what will happen, you'll be amazed, even though family and friends probably aren't in the mix for you much with respect to those who are awakening, you're going to start finding people locally. It's over time. It may not happen right away, but you're going to be amazed at how souls start connecting with each other. And most everybody starts to have that happen in one way or another, whether it's online or in person. All right. I'm going to do a couple more, and I'm going to leave the rest for later video. Okay, take care of your mind, body, and soul. This is a huge one. The body in particular is the vehicle in which we travel this journey, this soul having this human experience. If we don't keep our body in check and we don't care for it and we don't respect it and we don't treat it as a consciousness, it's going to let us know that. And, a lot of us treat it as a tool, which it's not. It's here to, yes, serve us, but at the same time, we are here to respect it as well. It allows us to have this journey. So getting out in nature, being able to ground yourself, getting exercise in whatever way that means for you, but hopefully on a daily basis, whether it be strenuous or taking a walk. And then with respect to the mind and to me, the soul, meditation is so incredibly important. They talk about this a lot. Finding quiet time for yourself, alone time for yourself, where you're closing your eyes and you're allowing yourself quiet, what they call quietude. And, forget for a moment whether you go into this full-blown formal meditation practice. I wish you would. I wish everyone would, because I believe and I have seen the benefits of it myself. But if you just find space for yourself during the day, away from the hecticness, sitting down, breathing, and closing your eyes, and having peace and quiet and nothing else around you, that's going to help, all right? So again, and that is number 6. Number 7, you're going to get signs and messages. It's as though your higher self directs you over to these signs and messages. Most people start with the numbers. That's the big ones. Typically the 1111s, 111, 333s, 555s. Those are big. And when you start noticing those, that's an early sign of the awakening. Now, you're going to continue to get those as you go through your journey, but typically that's one of the first things that people see when they start their awakening journey. So as you get signs and messages, and they're going to come fast and furious potentially, they may not too. So just know that. Don't think you're off track or something's wrong if all of a sudden you're not getting signs and messages, because those come in waves as well. In my first few years, oh my gosh, I have 170 pages of documented signs and messages. However, things just dropped off after that, because guess what? It was kind of like, oh, she's got it now. Oh, she's got it. She's connected to us. We're not having to try to get our attention anymore. She is connected like this. And I firmly believe that's a big part of this. And then from there, that's really how we are communicated with in many ways, with our spirit team, with our angels, with our guides. So document your signs and messages. I find that to be extraordinarily useful. And that's journaling, essentially. So get yourself a little book and start writing, and you'll be surprised at how much you might want to go back to that to see how amazing your journey has actually been. Otherwise, it tends to float away and drift away, and we forget. And then remember that as you're getting these signs and messages, a lot of other things may start happening because the veil is falling for us. All that we cannot see is starting to be able to be seen in one way or another. And that means sometimes you're going to see energies, you're going to see colors and lights, and you're going to see what it may be even spirits. But what I say to you is do not go into any of this with fear, go into it with amazement. And you'll be incredulous as to what you actually learn about on your journey. And then we have, lastly, and then I'm going to finish up for today, is you are, and then I'll cover the rest in another video, is you are likely going to be finding that you are separating in some way, to one degree or another, from family, friends, and loved ones, relationships. A lot of people have endings and then, of course, new beginnings, but I'm talking right now about kind of endings or adjustments in relationships. Sometimes we step away from groups of friends altogether. We don't resonate with those activities or with them anymore. I've seen it in my own life. It has most certainly happened with some friends, and I now have a whole new group of friends who actually are all over the world. And it's fascinating how your soul family isn't just in your backyard or necessarily your birth family. And then you also may likely see adjustments in relationships, as in romantic relationships. And a lot of people part ways. I'm not saying that's going to happen to you, but I'm just saying be aware that that is a potential. That you will have some adjustment as you go forward in your awakening journey, and it's all for good purpose. It's all for good reason. So just know that and don't fear it, that you have something, that you may have something like that coming your way. But again, this is all individual and unique in your own journey. With that, I'm going to finish up today with 8 of those for you in what I call your spiritual awakening starter kit. So these are things that I got thinking, I would really like to have known this when I started my awakening journey, because I didn't have anything to go on, literally nothing. All I had were the numbers, and then I went out online and had to figure it out myself. So hopefully this will be useful to you and those coming down the path with the awakening. I will cover the next ones in another video and close this one out. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed these first 8 spiritual awakening starter kit tips as you start through your awakening journey or need to be reminded about the awakening journey. I will cover the rest of these in a future video, and in the meantime, I thank you so much for joining me. And if you're interested in reaching out to me for assistance in your awakening journey, at purplerainhealing.com, I would absolutely love to work with you. Thank you so much for joining me.